Shafqat, Rabbee, it's a huge charge by Omar Hadi telling the Muhammad Yunus regime, it is you that killed Usman Hadi. Now you are trying to foil elections by using this as an issue, unquote. What's the reaction and what are the implications of this statement, sir?
So thanks for having me here. I think it's an explosive headline that you guys are quoting. Bangladeshi media, I was trying to go through some of the Bangladeshi media just to figure out exact veracity. I also contacted some of their team members before this afternoon when this news hit for the first time. So I think it's a raw emotion from Usman Hadi's brother. He's talking about, he's blaming the lack of apprehension of the perpetrators and then the subsequent political outcome that may ensue from this killing, which is basically a derailed election, which some quarters are suspecting. So it's a politically charged accusation. I do not think he means every letter of the accusation. It's probably some raw nerves within Hadi's brother, who's definitely upset about the lack of progress in terms of his brother's killer's apprehension.
But does it expose, Ambassador Sikri, elements in the Muhammad Yunus regime? Is it just a politically charged, emotional statement, or did they actually jump the gun, blame India, deliberately deflecting, using this as deflection tactics, Ambassador Sikri?
Well, I think that if you look at what is happening in Bangladesh, this is a clear indication of the total unrest, total lack of control, total anarchy prevailing in that country because there is nobody in control. Now, this death of Usman Hadi, when he was shot at, within a few minutes, the blame was put on India. And the Indian High Commissioner was called in and told that, look, this is your fault and the killer has escaped to India, etc., etc. Of course, we refuted that very strongly and we strongly were able to counter that. We called in the Bangladesh High Commissioner and so on. Now, yesterday or day before, in the meeting of the Yunus regime's cabinet, the Home Advisor said, we don't know who the killer is. Yes. We have no evidence that the killer has gone to India. This reversal in the position of the Yunus regime on the killing of Usman Hadi shows clearly that it was a motivated statement in the beginning. The motivated statement to blame India for it and, of course, create a chaos because Usman Hadi was known to be spouting such strong anti-India rhetoric all the time and anti-Sheikh Hasina rhetoric all the time. So I think that the Usman Hadi represented the Inqilab Manch, which is a group, which is part of the Islamists group that Jamaat-e-Islami is putting together for the elections. Now, to say that this Islamist group had themselves fallen out among themselves, this really indicates a situation where, A, there is no control, there is no statement till today on what happened to Usman Hadi. There are people saying that the person who was riding with him in the auto rickshaw, that is the person who has killed him. They're talking about the forensic report and all these kind of debates are going on in Bangladesh. So, but the very fact that the police has not been able to come up with anything is a remarkable indication of the law and order situation in the country.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, is this going to be used to postpone the elections? Is this going to be used to put pressure on Muhammad Yunus to step down? There are a lot of, conspiracy theories and stories all attached. But it doesn't bode well for what is happening in Bangladesh.
Or does it mean that Muhammad Yunus is trying to cling on to power, as some of the reports seem to indicate? Because Muhammad Kamruzaman, what does this mean for the Muhammad Yunus administration? Such a strong statement coming from Hadi's brother?
It's very natural, I think, because you know that Sharif Usman Hadi was shot on broad daylight, and the killer, whether he fled to India or not, it will be found out after proper investigation. But as Sharif Usman Hadi was shot on broad daylight in the midday, and there was huge time to flee. But the question from the family is very natural. It's of course a failure of the interim government led by Professor Muhammad Yunus. So this question is very normal and it's from the anger or emotion. But it doesn't mean that you are, as you are telling. Actually, this is of course an emotional speech before the people, and all other also are demanding to the interim government.
It would actually indicate immaturity, Shubir Bhaumik, immaturity of the Muhammad Yunus administration or regime to blame India without an iota of evidence. And now the statement of the brother would indicate that at least elements in the regime were trying to sabotage elections, use the killing to foment unrest and call off elections or postpone elections?
Well, I don't think it's an immature government. I mean, they are far too mature for my and your wisdom. This has been a feature of this entire movement beginning July last year, that people have been killed under very dubious circumstances. They have been killed by their own people and then flaunted as shaheed or as martyrs to whip up mass frenzy at that time against the government of the day, that is Sheikh Hasina's government, and now against India and, the Army League or whoever has been blamed for this killing. I have very definite information from the very beginning that somebody who killed Hadi was extremely close to him. Extremely close to him. Now, there is another disclosure that has come, come to our notice. Motaleb Shikder, who is this other NCP leader who was,
shot at.
He was fired at and nearly killed. The entire blame initially was sort of political opponents and stuff like that, but now it is found that he was actually, attacked by his own people over, sharing of extortion money and stuff like that. And he was with his girlfriend when he was attacked. And of course, there were a lot of, alcohol, bottles around. So, thing is, here is a dispensation. I won't call it a government because this is more of a dispensation which is handling power rather than a responsible government. Here is a dispensation which actually has specialized the technique of whipping up public frenzy even by killing their own people and then using it to their political advantage.
But is it now unraveling? Is it now unraveling, General Kulkarni, the manner in which, information is spilling out in public domain, or those that were very close to the regime are also being targeted? Hadi killed, another leader targeted. Are elements within the regime very desperate if they can kill a student leader who played a critical role in the ouster of Sheikh Hasina government from now till February? Could the situation go from bad to worse in Bangladesh?
Thank you, Gaurav. I think there are internal contradictions within Bangladesh. Bangladesh itself, and especially the Jamaat-e-Islami, influenced by the ISI, a lot of ISIF involvement over there. You find Al-Qaeda, you find Lashkar-e-Taiba, all that, and the anti-India sentiments being thrown out of proportion is indicative that within Bangladesh there are contradictions, and that the Yunus government is definitely not in full control. Much of it is happening directly and, well, we can say officially under his guidance or without his knowing what's happening. But there is no denying the fact that the anti-India sentiments are being orchestrated primarily internal, of course, Jamaat-e-Islami. Within Bangladesh also, there is a sizable proportion which doesn't seem to go along with Yunus's government. Otherwise, Prothom Alo being burned, the offices of Daily Star being burned is indicative that these newspapers were definitely not at all anti-Bangladesh. They were all pro-Bangladesh, all progressive, all secular. But somehow or the other, Jamaat-e-Islami have been instigated, and there is a big role. There is no denying the fact. To me, it appears ISI right now, ISIS, also Al-Qaeda, whole kind of money coming in from Middle East.
I'll come to that aspect in just a moment, because that's something I want to explore during the course of this broadcast. But Ambassador Sikri, you wanted to come in on the aspect of Hadi's brother blaming elements in the regime wanting to cling on to power through his killing.
In my view, the only answer at this point is to have free, fair and inclusive elections in Bangladesh. The problem is arising because the democratic norms are not being followed, and the Awami League is continued. Awami League, Jatiyo Party, 14-party line, so many parties are not being allowed to participate against all democratic norms. Even the congressmen and senior people from the American political system have written a letter to Muhammad Yunus saying that please have democratic elections with participation of all parties. Muhammad Yunus has not even accepted that he has received the letter. His office is denying till right as now that we have not received any such letter from USA. And there's so many voices all over the world. The government of India has been very strongly saying that there must be free, fair and inclusive elections so that democratic norms are followed and people will believe that this is a democratic election where the parties have, whoever gets elected. It doesn't mean an opinion survey published in Prothom Alo, the leading paper, said that 70% of the people of Bangladesh want the Awami League to participate. Not that 70% going to vote for them, no, but they want the Awami League and other parties to participate so that democratic elections can be held. We know in
Perhaps
the past...
is that the reason why Prothom Alo office was set on fire? Because they came up with such a survey that 70% people want Awami League to participate in elections. Ma'am, stay on with me on that thought. Sandeep, the West seems to be giving, and at least governments in the West, whether it's Europe or the United States of America, otherwise so vocal on democracy, otherwise so vocal on human rights, but they seem to be giving the Muhammad Yunus regime the long rope, including on the activities of radical Islamists. And this just indicates all this talk of democracy and free speech means nothing, not a whimper when minorities including Hindus are targeted or newspaper offices torched or media harassed or cultural centers vandalized in Bangladesh. Sandeep. You're on mute, Sandeep. Sandeep, you're on mute. Sandeep, you're on mute. Okay, give me a moment. We'll reestablish that link. Okay, Sandeep, go on.
Yeah, well, Gaurav, there was absolutely no statements when that innocent worker was lynched in public. His body was burned. Kind of barbarity that we've not seen in Bangladesh for almost half a century. And, this only goes on to show the kind of so-called revolution that has been, ushered in Bangladesh. And, the chief executive or the chief advisor must remember, Gaurav, that in Bangladesh, they have a habit of consuming, the revolution has a habit of consuming the people who bring in the revolution. They have not spared the father of the nation, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in 75. The same fate befell General Ziaur Rahman in 1981. And now these are the kind of forces that have been unleashed in 2025. So we are seeing this naked display of, anarchy that's playing out in Bangladesh. And if I may use the word, it's a unarchy in Bangladesh right now, Gaurav.